Hello everyone, and welcome to a video on the Bobby Fischer Trap. It is one of my favorite chess traps, named after the 11th world chess champion, Robert James Fischer. Let's get into it. So the trap comes after white plays e4 and black plays pawn to c5. This is known as the Sicilian defense. We will play knight to f3, and they will play knight to c6, the secondary main line. And we play the move pawn to d4 here, breaking open in the center. They will take it, and we will take back their knight, at which point they will play pawn to g6, known as the accelerated dragon, planning to put their bishop on this square and get control of this knight and the long diagonal. We will simply play knight to c3 here, and after they fianchetto their bishop, they are now double attacking this knight, and because we really don't want to trade it, we will instead play bishop to e3, defending it and keeping the tension in the center. They will play knight to f6, preparing to castle, and we play bishop to c4, developing our bishop. They will castle, at which point we play bishop to b3. This bishop move backwards is known as the Bobby Fischer variation, and is now the main line of this variation. Trap here is if black tries to chase away this laser beaming bishop with the move knight to a5, trying to trade it off. The only good move for white here is to play knight to e5, counterattacking this knight, and it doesn't really have a nice square to go to. It can't go to any of these squares because it is covered by the knight. It can't go here because it is covered by the queen. And if it moves to h5, then now we play pawn to g4, and it's just, simply trapped. So they'll have to move it back to e8, but before I show you that, I must show you the, according to the engine, the best move for black here, which is to ignore this threat here and just take our bishop. If they play this, then we will take their knight, they will take our rook, and now we take their bishop. And this knight is going to be lost anyway, so they'll sack it on c2, so they get an extra pawn for it. We will take back for queen, and now they will take our pawn. And we are technically down a pawn in this position. However, according to the engine, this is actually just completely winning for white. This is +2 according to the engine, because first of all, we play the move queen to d2, setting up this battery, trying to get to this square, and then skewer their king and their rook. Obviously, they cannot allow that, so they have to back up to g8 for their king, at which point we will simply castle. And we have a very gambit-style position. For the price of one pawn, we are castled, and we have every single piece developed, and we are immediately ready to start going on an attack, while black really has zero development. So back in this position, after we play pawn to e5, attacking this knight, their only safe square is back to e8, at which point we now have the incredible sacrifice. I'll give you a second to try and find it. The move here is bishop takes on f7 out of completely nowhere with a very specific idea in mind. And the completely insane idea we have here that makes this completely winning is that if they take this with their rook, then now we have the incredible move knight to e6. We are attacking their queen, and the queen is actually just completely trapped, only as these three squares which are completely covered, and if they cannot take the knight because then we'll simply take their queen. So their best move according to the engines, take our knight, but this simply loses their queen, at which point we're up queen and just completely winning. If they try to move to the side and just completely avoid our sacrifice, then now once again we have knight to e6, and all the same rules apply here. The queen is still completely trapped, and they cannot take because of an x-ray, but this is even better this time because after they have to take according to the engine, we will take their queen, and this time we get an extra piece as well, which is just even more winning in an already winning position. Black's craziest idea here is to take it with their king, because now this e6 square is, obviously they can still not take it, but now they can take it with their king. But the only winning move here is to just say, we do not care at all, and play knight to e6 anyways, completely sacrificing the knight. Now once again, this queen is just completely trapped here with no squares, and they still cannot take their d-pawn, because then we just take their queen. However, in this position, what they're almost always going to do is try taking with their king. Now the only winning move we have here is to prevent this king running back to f7 and being safe with the move queen to d5 check, checking the king, and x-ray defending the square. So their only legal move here is to run to f5, at which point the only way to actually successfully checkmate black is to play the sacrifice of a pawn g4. Now once again, their only legal move in this position is to take the sacrifice, at which point we played rook to g1, and checkmate is just simply unstoppable. Black has 1, 2, 3, 4 squares here, every single one loses. If they run to f5, then we bring our rook up to g5, and our pieces just work in beautiful harmony here to take away every single square from his king. Is just incredible checkmate. If instead they play anywhere on this h-file here, king to h4 being best, then we will simply play queen to g2. Black's best try here is to play the move pawn to d6, at which point we just have to not make one mistake here, which is to play queen to g4, thinking it's an immediate checkmate, but this bishop sadly protects that square, which would be losing. That would just be extremely depressing if you got that in your game. Instead, if they play that, then we'll simply play queen to g5 check, forcing their king back to h3, at which point simply queen to g3 is just checkmate. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and I will see you next time.